Well, hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, 11:35-ish, and Sean Russell with First United Mortgage is here with us, and we're going to go through some things with him, and we'll put this on the YouTube channel so everybody can watch it at a later time. If anybody that's with us currently, if you have any questions as we go through, y'all can just turn your mic on and jump in. We'll be glad to answer any questions as we go. But ladies and gentlemen, here is Sean.
How you guys doing? Thanks for being here this morning. I hope everybody had a happy 4th of July and no fires were started or fingers damaged or blistered from sparklers or things like that kids do, that I know I did when I was young. But I'm really glad to be here.
Hey, Danielle.
Sure, you.
Not in front of the camera, over there.
We're all in front of the camera.
Oh, probably over there. That'd be good. There.
Well, I had a meeting actually with one of Megan's clients this morning, actually, who's an investor, and the general things that I hope to discuss with you guys. The question is always where rates are, and it's always interesting where people get information from. And here I had a borrower call me over the weekend and said, well, I heard the good news is that rates dropped. And I was like, well, that was until Friday morning, and then the markets had gone to garbage again. And, getting all kinds of, they've gotten pretty bad this morning, to be quite honest. And I just quoted somebody with, good credit about an 8% interest rate. So rates now with a buy down are getting back into the low 7s. So it's probably temporary. But the point is that people are hearing stuff, as you guys know, and you guys hear all the time. I think the general thing overall that has not changed, though, is that a lot of these things are temporary. A lot of the stuff is, the stuff that people are hearing is not the reality of what's happening in Texas. So the discussion that I literally just had this morning that Megan's already heard, so she'll be bored to tears hearing this again, but it is absolutely true that the worse it gets elsewhere, the worse rates get, the more people sit on the fence. It gives the people that are willing to go out there in the market the only opportunity they're probably going to have in the next few years to actually negotiate a price on a deal. When rates drop into the 5s, which we still think is the general prediction over the next year to 2 years, we are marketing for that. So we still believe that that is true, and are betting on it. We're putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak, offering incentives for people to refinance with us later when rates drop without having to pay fees with us, for instance, So we are betting on this and actively marketing it. However, I do think when rates drop into the 5s that you're going to be back into a market where everybody that's on the fence that has been drastically underserved, that the bubble will pop and there's going to be a flood of people in the market. You're going to be back out competing for anything under $500,000. You're going to be offering above list price. So that savings on interest rates will drop, but the price of the houses will just go up and wash out any benefit for that rate drop. So it's a wrong perspective, and you don't have to take my word from it. I mean, honestly, I got out of high school and went in the Army. I'm not a financier or a Wall Street guy, but the biggest hedge funds in the country, every time things get worse, they are investing primarily in Texas real estate. It is the best place to put your money, no matter what rates are doing. I would just keep urging them, because when they go back out into the market, they find that same house for $30,000 to $50,000 more. That is going to be harder to overcome than a rate that will be likely, if we're right, and then the markets, then the people that are smarter than me are right, then rates will stay high for the next year, 2 years. It'll be coming down. Just today is a really bad day, but I think if we manage that expectation and still push people and keep following up on them or with them, it's just a harder sell. It's a harder sell up front because of perception. And but I would just keep urging it. A couple things that we're doing. We are still leveraging. A lot of people are starting to take advantage of those temporary buy downs, and not just builders. I think when I came here about a month ago or a month and a half ago, we talked about temporary buy downs. That is still a way more effective means, especially if people believe that rates are going to come down between the election cycle and everything like that. It's a great way to leverage what the next 2 years look like, where they're saving, on a $500,000 house. If the seller's willing to do that, instead of negotiating for a lower price, they pay the equivalent of about 2% in fee. rate drops into the 4s the first year, 5s the next, something like that, to where we sell them on, you're looking at the overall deal as the next couple of years, this is what it looks like. So let's take advantage of this. Save you money on interest, let the seller pay it. Negotiate it that way. I would say that's still been an effective means of selling, both for builders, and now I'm seeing it with realtors on listings, offering it as a way to counter, the sale. For the agents, it's great because you're still selling the house for the same price rather than you lowering your commission and price. So it still is a great tool to use on the other side of the for both sides of the transaction. So any questions on that part, on rates or products that are out there right now that might be beneficial, or things you're hearing about different products that I could help you guys with?
No questions from them.
So, yeah, go ahead. The other thing Brian had talked about, and I believe we have some dates, so I'll email those to you today. Finally, Brian, because of the 4th of July week, I plan on launching this thing, possibly next week. I think they want to push it back another week to where a few of the houses are brand new neighborhood. But there's a neighborhood called Callahan Acres, where, again, you guys that are interested, we're going to have a social media contest where it's basically to promote the development. The winners will receive 2 lots, and I'm basically opening up to a small group of agents that we're inviting, or teams that I've worked with, because the buyers for these lots and for this property are coming from where you guys are marketing. They're not coming from, you guys are, I think, positioned right to find those people, the way you guys market, to where you guys can find it. But the idea is just, you'll have a 2-week window to promote the construction and in this neighborhood up in Azle. And the winner of this competition, based on likes and engagements, likes and views rather, it'll be 2 separate sort of categories the way we gauge it, will earn these listings right off the bat. So it'll be, as soon as the competition's done, we will tally the totals, and you will sign a 6-month contract at that point for those lots. The idea, though, for me, my hope is to introduce you to the group of builders that are working in that area that are already approved for this, so that you can use programs that we have to get them engaged, so they have one closing to close on that lot, and involve the builder to turn it into a custom home build. And instead of a $120,000 lot, it becomes a $700,000 commission, or builds off the $700,000 sale. A $700,000 commission would be even better.
That would be awesome.
Can't promise that. But I wanted, during the process of this, if you're interested in doing it, I do believe that just the activity of promoting it and tying yourself to Parker County, to lots, to construction, and having an inside track, it is a hugely underserved market. And our relationship between builders and realtors. And I think it's something that just the activity of being involved, I believe, will lead you to business, even if you don't end up winning the competition specifically. But I will get you prepared and make those introductions, so that you're bringing those customers, as they're pre-qualified, to a builder that is ready to give them plans and specs and things like that, and make that conversion happen. The developer on this also, if the builder's involved, will give you the time on that contract to get those plans together, so that you can make it a one-time closing, because he wants the neighborhood built just as much as everybody else. So I'll email that to Brian, and then what I'll end up doing is setting up a time separately for those of you that want to participate, both here and on site in the neighborhood, to go through the programs, make sure you're acclimated enough to where you feel confident to sort of step into that arena and overcome whatever questions, but to make sure that you feel confident you'll be able to control that transaction through the introduction and meetings with the builders.
Okay. So I'm just thinking kind of where you're going with this. Are you thinking that, Greg can go out there and do video on the lots?
Yep.
And the builders already have some specs there?
Yep.
So he can do walkthroughs and say, hey, we've got this
Yep.
thing going. Here's where the lot is.
Yep.
This is what the builder is able to build.
That's right.
And tie all that together in a reel or Instagram post or whatever.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where you're going with this.
That's exactly right.
So somebody that has, for instance, an agent that has more time, they
Yeah.
can go out and spend 3 hours doing some video, take
Yep.
it back and edit it, and then publicize that.
That's right.
And that will count as part of that. Are there going to be hashtags involved?
Yes.
Okay.
The way we'll track it, it'll be TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll have a hashtag for Calhoun Acres. It looks like the meeting will be set on the 20th, which is a Thursday. You don't have to be at the property site, but it will be at an MK home site. The only reason I'd say that is worth going out there is because you can start gathering video, obviously, right off the bat. You'll have access to some of the builders' houses that are finished. For instance, LBK Homes has some houses finished. MK Homes, Kudo is about to start in there. A couple others that you'll have access to. But what I will tell you, and I'll keep reiterating, is do not tag the builder in your posts. Go see their houses, make it a general, hey, I am working with some builders in this area, in this neighborhood. I don't know exactly some of the RESPA law stuff for you guys necessarily, but the reason I'm saying to do that is because if they can bypass you, they will still try to screw you out of the deal. You know?
I was gonna say, Kudo doesn't pay a fee for agents.
Well, and that's the thing is everybody that's participating in this is at the directive of the developer. And so he is saying, if you're going to be in this, then we're going to invite you, the agents, to meet these builders that we know will pay out the commission. Now, they may do it slightly variance in how they do it. A lot of them like to pay half up front and then half at the end. Some do it on the base price of the house. Some do it on the total sales. This is going to be your lot. So it will be a little different than if they own the lot and control parts of that, you know. Because you're inviting a builder that has no rights or access to that customer or that lot at that point, you know. So you'll have those introductions, you'll know those people. It'll still be a transaction that I believe you can control, mainly because the developer does not want you guys getting screwed out of the deals. He understands that he's gotten burned, and trying to get the agents that he knows to come out has been difficult because a lot of good agents that he knows don't want to get their customers tangled up with those builders. And I get it. I mean, like I said, it is a bridge that has been burned to the ground, right? So, but I think these guys now have recalibrated their mindset as far as the value that realtors bring to the table. And I also think that as realtors, the number of times that they cut you out of the deal based on, I think we're looking at $150 a foot base price. Then you wanted air conditioning. Well, that's going to be like 75, you know, whatever. You know, it's like there's still a value in how to negotiate with prices. I think a lot of times that's because realtors are walking into, you're not sure what your place is in it. And I want to help fix that and help you feel confident in your place in that transaction. That there's an opportunity there. That can translate over to people that are buying houses. I think with the rates and with the market, the people who are sort of that bear market mentality people, your investors, like Megan introduced me to an investor this morning. I mean, a guy who's looking to build an investment portfolio. Investors are out there buying up what is available. Every good deal is being looked at by corporate housing. The numbers, when they hit a certain threshold, they get notified and they're making offers on the house at that deal, you know. They know that this is the time to buy, you know, when everybody else is on the fence, you know. So anyways, I think, you know, buying houses, you know, talking to your investors, talking to people that would want to buy a house and fix it up. We have programs for that. So again, it's not their dream house, but it's in the location they want to be at, and they need to put $75,000 in it. Most of your normal people can't manage that deal, but it is not nearly as hard. It is a conventional program we can walk them through dealing with. So there's some things
on a fix. It's not a 203K.
No, to be clear, it is not a 203K, because I'm glad you asked that, because if people think that's what I'm talking about, that is definitely not what I'm talking about. This is a conventional program called a Fannie Mae home style loan. They can put 5% down on the future value of the property as completed. So $200,000 house, $100,000 worth of repairs, they can put 5% down on $300,000 and buy that house, and then have all the funding necessary to fix that house up. I think with rates and prices and stuff like that, that can be a house with roof problems, foundation problems, you know, like the type of stuff that, you know, you'll find in older areas, you know. But those are the type of deals. Like, who else can buy that house? Not FHA, not VA, not regular conventional programs, even Fannie or Freddie. Maybe some portfolio bank or a cash buyer, right? And is cash buyer going to offer anywhere near what the market value of the price is even now? Right. Of course they're not. So there are opportunities. It's just, you know, there's just more layers to finding ways to connect your buyers. I know, the same thing for me.
Okay, so in that same program, is that available? Is that an owner occupant only, or is that something that you could do as an investment flip kind of thing.
I can do it as an investment flip. I can do it as an investor buy and hold, either one. They can still use the money as an alternative to hard money. I'll tell you what, an investor, hard money's fast money, and that's sometimes wins the deal. I mean, they got to get bids together and stuff like that. Sometimes that's why an investor may not want to do it. But if it's like the guy that I met this morning, that Megan introduced me to, he's looking at building portfolios in the earlier stages. He's not on his 10th and 15th house he's buying and flipping. He doesn't have access to a line of credit or hard money lender, private money, right? This is a much more cost-effective way. If you don't know what hard money is, it costs you about 3 points. And then as soon as you get past 3 months, you start paying penalties. Once you get past 6 months, even more penalties. They're hoping you don't pay because then they're going to come take your house now that you fix it up and foreclose on it. They can foreclose in a couple of weeks and then they own your house. So, and they just bought it at 80 cents on the dollar, So hard money is very risky, can be good. You know what you're doing. Most people don't know what they're doing. They just watch HGTV or some flip show and it looks really cool and fun. And it's a disaster, so it's a dream. That's why hard money lenders do it. It's an easy way to buy houses actually with doing no work.
Right.
Just sit back. As long as you got a pool of cash to dump into it, you can buy houses. This is a much better way for somebody that
And
wants
that's
to
called Fannie Mae.
It's a Fannie Mae program. So therefore it's a conventional government-backed program. So still the fixed rates on it run about 1/8% higher than a standard 30-year fixed conventional loan.
It's not bad.
5% down still. And the house can have roof, foundation, as long as it is covered in the bid, then they can buy the house as is. You can negotiate the price down. You don't want them to fix anything because they're not going to do good work on it. You know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're just getting bids on all the work. You're buying the house as is. They put 5% down, and then it's still a fixed rate locked up front, and then they start going through the.
See, we have something available here at Sixth Ave that nobody else has. Is we've got a construction and design department 50 feet away from us.
Yes.
So if we find one of those properties that can do that, then we can go through you, and then we can have construction and design do the bid
Yes.
and submit that to you, and then people can walk in at 5%.
Yep.
With an interest rate about 1/8 above what prime is.
Yep. So we're sitting. I mean, you're talking like if you got a quote today, and nobody start crying. It's not my fault, but rates are probably 8 1/8 on something like that. I mean, they suck. But it's like that's temporary. If they want to refinance a year from now, we're not even charging our refinance fees. It would be super cheap. They wouldn't need to do appraisal, do survey, talking settlement fees.
Okay.
Cheap way to get it, but just keep selling that no matter what they're looking at today, the rate is temporary. Let me tell you one thing on this home style line. You guys, most of the agents, the reason they have not taken advantage of that program is because they don't have a team that can come bid that out. You guys have done, Sixth Avenue is done and flipped houses. I mean, you guys have access to get in the option period phase a legitimate enough bid with enough cushion in it to where they would be able to finish that job and have money to spare. As long as the appraised value, just like anything else, as long as they're not way over buying. I have had people that use them to add a pool to a house or add a garage apartment to a house that's in good shape. You can use it for that too. But, to be able to use it, I think for the buyers now where they're buying that ugly house that only a cash buyer is going to come there and buy, I think that's a big advantage in the agent to know that and to have the connection in here to do it. You just kind of sell them on the no, we can look at that house, a buy, fix up house. We can do that. There is no other agents I know that are out that offer that and know the framework and have the internal structure to be able to manage that effectively.
Can I drill down slightly?
Yeah.
So let's just say that we do that. We find an ugly house and put an offer on it, and construction and design does their thing. How does that draw system work? Does your bank hold the money?
Yep.
And it's a draw system from the contractor directly to the bank.
Yep.
So the buyer agent really doesn't have much to do with it.
No, exactly. You're exactly right. And so you're exactly right. When the loan closes, it fully funds. So there's not a hold on any kind of money, commissions, anything like that. All that is fully funded. And then the money that is set aside for construction gets put into an account within our bank. The construction, the builder or GC requests the draw as they complete items, which is standard for their mentality. This is not abnormal. So they may have to front cost on material or other things like that, but then we're paying out that draw within about 3 to 4 days. With that program, we have to actually physically overnight a check. That's a Fannie Mae thing. That's not us, but they literally get a physical check when they request the draw and the customer approves it.
Okay.
But you're out at that point, all that you're doing, the main thing is I would recommend during an option period, and maybe kind of tie it to a finance addendum, so that we know that it still has to appraise for X or has to appraise, and I'll help you with that phase of it. But there's a few little nuances because you want to get that bid done within that option period. So that at least you as an agent are like, okay, you're going to be in 300,000 on this house. I think the top end comp wise is 250. You'll be able to see that. You'll know that this house fixed up is still a ceiling of this per square foot, right? So that's why getting the bid during the option period, we can say, well, this is going to cost too much.
Right.
Then let's go back the price down to this so that we can build in the 75,000 or 100,000 we think we need.
Makes
On the
sense.
flip side, a lot of people are putting in stuff they know will not appraise and they're okay with it, but it still is more effective than getting a second lien or private money. Private money right now is running, second liens are running, they're now hitting double digits. So if someone was looking for a second lien, they're looking possibly 9 to 10% range on a 15-year term. That payment is a lot higher than if they build it into this, put a little bit more money down. If they can structure it within it, it still makes more sense. It still saves money.
Great information. Angela, Megan, Crystal, do y'all have any questions about what we've talked about so far?
No, but this is great info.
Yeah, it's kind of like I always tell my builders, like, just make sure you mention it, because if, like with construction, if you guys were on the call when I talked about that last Wednesday, I think it was. I don't know what day it is. Last Wednesday when I mentioned it, a lot of times what ends up happening is my agents aren't mentioning certain programs that are available, just the rough loose ends, right? So that if your customer starts thinking that way, they don't go out and just drive to Parker County and just see what's available. And then they're like, hey, this builder has a cool house. I wonder how much this costs. Let me call them. Now you lost the deal, right? I think the same thing with this could be true, is like, if just mentioning it and be like, look, if you find a fixer-upper, that is a different path we need to take, but I can help you with that. We can help you. We are positioned to be able to manage this better than anybody else in this town. I do believe that's true. If someone asked me, I would tell them the same thing. You guys are in a unique position with that. But I think just mentioning some way of, hey, we can do this, including for investors, Megan, like if Chris finds somebody that, or finds a house that's a fixer-upper, I mentioned it. I just said, there is a way to do some of that, but it's a little different program if you go that route. So there are programs, but I think it's just a matter of mentioning. Like, hey, if we get frustrated, if you're looking at a $600,000 house, they might get frustrated and drive out to Parker County because they hear there's houses out there for in that price range. So mention that you've got connections, you can hook them up with that, but you don't have to go too far. I think the same thing with this. You're looking at houses, we can find fixer-uppers, but it's a different path. And we got to sit down and talk and discuss some of the different variables if we're going to go that route, right?
So that Fannie Mae program, home style
Home style loan, Fannie Mae home style.
loans, does it fall in those restrictions of max value that you can get on that loan?
You're still doing 95% of the future value of the property completed. So if, again, in a scenario where it's going to cost $200 to buy it as is, $100 to fix it up. So we need an appraisal for $300 to fully fund that, just like any other transaction you'd have. So if it came in at $275, then you're going to have a little more money out of pocket, but still less than you would going the route of having to pay cash or to get some second lien. So it's still safe.
What I'm asking is, are there loan limits? Like,
The same conventional limits as you would have. So a loan amount of $726,000.
so you can do this on pretty much almost every house in Fort Worth, in Tarrant County.
Yeah, exactly. As long as that loan size is not above 724, sorry.
724? Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what it is.
It is 724, sorry.
724 is, and then it becomes a jumbo,
Yes.
and then this program doesn't work for the jumbo.
Yeah, we just, if you get into those type of houses, above that, we go to a one-time close. And then but when you get into it, so we have a portfolio version. It looks exactly the same, functions, all the mechanics are the same basically, but it's just a bigger down payment. Usually 10 to 15%. Once you get up into a million plus, you're looking at 10, 15% down on that program, but it can absolutely still be done on that. It just looks different.
Okay, that's great information. Megan, you'd come off of mute there for a second. Did you have a question for Sean?
Oh, no, I was just going to say great information, even though I'm hearing some of it for the second time this morning. The more I hear it, the more it's sinking in. So good stuff.
Well, and that's why I'm recording this, and I'm going to put it on the YouTube channel, because it's great to be able to go back and hear this information again and have Sean go through it so you can catch all the nuance that's here. Any other questions, anybody? You guys are also welcome to go into the chat in Google Meet. If you have a question, we've got it pulled up in here, so you're welcome to put a question in there as we go. Angela, any questions from you?
No, same thing though. I'm going to go back and listen to it again just because I don't know. It's really good information. And every time we hear Sean, it's always good information. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Angela.
Well, that's why we keep having him come back.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what else have you got going? What other things that or nuances do you have?
Sure. We have, we're aggressively going after VA deals right now. We've extended a special where we waive our internal fees at least to do VA loans. And so all of our administrative, which is not a lot. Most banks, it's about $1,000 basically, but we are waiving that. And so we're VA direct. All of our programs we are direct on, so we're not a reseller or anything like that. We have a few jumbo programs we would resell in certain circumstances. But the two main things I'm seeing a lot more of, I am seeing a lot of medical growth, like it's been going on, but I'm seeing a lot more of it even lately. We do have doctor loan programs that can do 0 down up to $1.5 million with no mortgage insurance for new doctors moving in the area. A lot of them, they're coming out of fellowship, they're moving here. I mean, the hospital growth is, pretty wild here. So just, again, it's kind of those things you just keep in the back of your mind. You talk to a doctor, they may not have heard about these programs, but when you offer it to them, they're looking at all these equipment leases and student loans. We ignore the student loan debt for them. I mean, there's crazy things they will do for doctors because we want their billing to flow through our bank, right? That's why banks offer these things. So just keep that in mind. We're direct on all of our programs. So with VA, I think it helps, and FHA, because we can do loans down to the 580s on that stuff. I don't go out telling all my agents, hey, send me when you like coming to America, when you think of garbage, think of Akeem. Like I'm not necessarily going to go after that,
Right.
But we definitely can work. I also can work with your customers rescoring. To be honest, usually when people have low scores, most of the things that I can fix to get them where I need the score to be at least can be done in about a week. They're really not that hard. Bankruptcy, foreclosure, those are more difficult.
Yeah, those are a little bit longer.
They take a little longer. But I would say that just keep encouraging your customers to apply before they do what they think they need to do to fix their credit. Because what they think they need to do is a lot of times very logical, but the credit bureaus and the scoring system is not a logic-based thing. And the things they can do in the short term are not the things that really matter.
Okay.
But the VA thing, like I said, the only thing I'd say is I feel like our VA rates, just in honesty, are pretty average. I mean, we're better than USAA, though. I'd say that because a lot of vets, I know as a vet, I'm a vet myself, and you're trained to believe that USAA is the best deal on everything, and they definitely are not. They can be. I mean, the great car finances, my cars are financed with them, but that's about it. Insurance-wise, home price-wise, everything like that, encourage them to shop that, because the people that vets are trained to work with. I'll also tell you that, just to be honest with you, working with vets, a lot of them are very entitled. And can be real jerks to work with a lot of times because they believe the world owes them a favor. I'm just being honest, as a vet, I see it all the time. If you want to not have to deal with that crap, then send them to me. They will not try to lay that crap on me. I promise.
Do you have a website for applications? So
Yes.
like if I had a customer, I can say, hey, here's Sean's website. Go, and it's a secure website to go apply. Do you have that?
I do.
Can you text that
yeah.
to me?
I will.
Because I'll put it in the chat right now if you'll text it to me, and that way it'll be up there, and then it'll be in the recording as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing I'll say too, if you guys have my cell phone, and you can put that in there too. Any of your customers are welcome to text, call me, whenever. I was talking to agents yesterday on deals, and I was like, man, even on 4th of July, but I'm fine with it. I was happy that I was getting calls and texts. But if you guys want to get updates on rates, just text me and let me know. I'll be glad to send out kind of a weekly thing on where I think rates are going to go. Just so that if you got somebody on the fence, be like, look, in the next week, this is what we think is going to happen. The Fed's going to announce this or whatever we think is going to steer it one way. I'm more than happy. I won't blow up your number with a bunch of junk. I'll just give you, here's conventional, here's VA, here's FHA. So you have it.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab it and put it in here, and then I'll put all this information. I'm gonna grab this real quick on my computer, and then I'll put it in the chat so that it'll be on the video, and you guys can grab it out of the chat too.
If you've seen my billboard, which
I did.
I wish I could share the things that have been done to my billboard by my friends in Photoshop. It's unbelievable. I actually think some of the ideas I've seen would draw more attention, but it wouldn't be, I don't think I'd be taken very seriously. But anyways, you'll see on there ParkerCountyHomeLoan.com. I bought that, and I also bought CowtownBanker.com. So just for different campaigns I was running or whatever. So, but this site is the actual site it's directing them to that Brian's about to post.
So it's srussell.firstunitedteam.com.
Yeah, spelled United.
But I changed it already. I got it. I got your back, brother. And so that S. Russell First United Team, that will get you to your application site.
Yes, it does have scenarios too where they can run payment information and stuff like that without getting blown up on Zillow. You guys know that trick, right? When you enter in, hey, what's the payment on this? Then they start tracking you, you get blown up on Zillow or any of the sites, So this one is not going to notify me that I need to call somebody and blow up their phone. This is just something they can use for free tools.
And I'm gonna actually go over there real quick, and I'm gonna share this real quick. Present a tab, and we'll present that tab. And so there is Sean's tab. Getting a mortgage should fit your life. So right there, apply now with Sean. There's his cell phone number, his office number, and his email. And then there are the calculators right there. So you guys, I'm assuming that y'all can see that.
And I'd always rather meet in your office than mine in case that ever comes up. So
Very good. Okay, so let me stop sharing that. We all have his information now, and putting it in the chat there. If you're watching this video later, please go over to the chat. It should be in there where you could see it at that point. We got about 7 minutes left. What else you got?
let's see. There was one other thing. So generally on the one-time close construction, I was mentioning that like just planting the seed, right? They may not go, they may not ever go look, but just knowing that you can help them with it is very helpful. The one-time close loan for people wanting to build custom homes. Also, when you're talking conventional loan sizes at five, and again, remember, the program we described, the home style loan, is typically used for more of a fixer-upper on a conventional size, right? You find a house that's a fixer-upper, could be in really bad shape. As long as the bid covers the deficiencies, you can do that. You can add a pool, workshop, mother-in-law suite, all that kind of stuff. Our one-time close loan for construction, I'd say the bullet points that if you have somebody that's going out looking and considering construction, if they go out looking, they typically are going to find that they're going to think that they need possibly 20% down. Most banks will tell them they need 20% down. If they have a lot, they can use the equity, but we only need 5% down on a one-time close. So you want to build a custom home with somebody out, from scratch on a lot or on their own lot, they can either have lot equity already, or they can put 5% down to build and buy. So again, if I was out talking to clients, and again, I'm talking to them in the 500 to 700,000 or above range, and they're thinking they want to buy around here, and then they're out and they don't really like what they're seeing for the price. That's the people that sometimes start wandering out right into these areas. Just mention that you have programs that of construction programs. You have access to a one-time close. Here's the 3 things. You have access to a one-time close lender that works with you guys that has programs of 5% down and offers fixed rates on that program. if you looked across the board, you would have trouble finding even one more bank in all of DFW or the area that services there that does those three things. So if you just remember those things as your plug, again, you have access, you want to buy a house and fix it up, I have access to a program that can still do it with a minimum down on a conventional loan fixed rate. You're taking somebody out looking at $500,000 to $700,000 range houses. I would be mentioning that if we go the route that you start considering custom homes, just so you know, I've got access to it. There's programs you can still put 5% down because they may have already shopped for it. They might have already looked into it and gotten who knows what for information. They call, I mean, how many of your customers bank with Wells Fargo and Chase? If they call those banks, they're going to hear, if they even find someone that knows how to do a construction loan, they're going to hear 20% down. Absolutely. You know, so that might deter them from an opportunity, and you don't even realize that's why they're not asking you about it, you know? I mean, you know, like I said, I feel like just throwing a few little pebbles in the pond.
Yeah, absolutely. That's,
You know?
that's why I wanted you to come here
Yeah.
to do this, because these programs we don't know about.
Yeah.
Until we see them one time.
And you guys are not most agents don't, and that's why they don't mention it. And that's why I think maybe there's a missed opportunity there because they get found out in retrospect, you know, after they've already, you know, caused damage that you got to try to undo to keep hold of that deal. So I think just mentioning it, being proactive, you know, we can help you with lots of loans, we can help you with construction. You guys have access to all that stuff. And again, you guys have the unique ability, a unique sort of partnership with construction that just people just don't have, you know, and I think that's I think that can set you apart, but I think it's other agents it's just overwhelming and they've heard bad stories about construction builders. I get it. Like I said, it's a burned bridge, but there's an opportunity there for sure. So.
Well, anybody have any more questions for Sean before we call it a day?
Nope,
Nope.
I'm good.
Okay, we have 3 I'm goods. Well, Sean's information is there. Please save it to your contacts, and keep Sean in the front of your mind for this type of anything. Just call Sean. That's going to be the general. We're going to put it up on the board. Just call Sean. That's where we're going. Thank you guys for coming today. Thank you, Sean, for being with us today.
Thanks.
I'm going to stop the recording now, but have a great day. Thanks, guys. You're getting applause from Crystal Cook. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to turn the recording off. Goodbye, guys. See y'all later.